Released in 1974 and the only film directed by Saul Bass is Phase 4, released on Vinegar Syndrome's VSU range. This 4K disc looks phenomenal. This is one of those movies that I've seen a few times now, and every time I watch it I tend to love it more, and I feel that the more I watch it the more I'm going to think it's absolutely phenomenal. It's a terrific and a very simple story. Something has happened that seems to have changed ants, small creatures within the world, and only one scientist has really kind of noticed what's going on. He's been tasked with creating a base and studying these creatures.
When the effect came, it was almost unnoticed, because it happened to such a small and insignificant form of life.
And we kind of see lots of experimental footage of ants close up as they're just doing their day-to-day tasks, as they create these monolithic structures that seem unsettlingly strange. And we watch these characters as they come to realise that ants have evolved rather quickly to become something to be terrified of, to become very dominant, smart and intelligent. And we watch these scientists as they try to battle their way with these ants. It sounds crazy, but it's directed in such a fun way, and it's such a compact and short movie at 86 minutes that there is simply no fat on this. It knows the story it wants to tell, and it delves into it, and it's unsettling and creepy. It's one of those movies where you really feel your skin start to crawl as you watch it, as you watch the scientists start to lose their grasp on what they're doing, as they realise that what they're against is much more than what they expected. Is just phenomenal.
I know that games are your business, James. You play them very well. That's why you're here.
There are so many sequences in Phase 4 that I find just absolutely fantastic and unsettling. Watching these ants in moments, there's one later on where they start to gather their dead and almost line them up for mourning. And there's an idea behind that is, for me, deeply unsettling. And there are many sequences like that where you're just watching close-ups of ants, or where there are ants in the foreground and behind it is a huge human face, as you kind of see it from the ant's perspective. And it has a very playful nature with the way it shoots this thing, which becomes really interesting throughout it.
They killed my horse.
And it's watching the scientists and the other characters that come into this one and seeing how smart the ants are, to see certain things that just become deeply terrifying. There is a moment where they find a corpse and they kind of open a hand and there's 3 little holes in it, and then all of a sudden the ants start to crawl out of it. And the idea of this was just horrific. It's a movie that gets by on its atmosphere, on its suspense, on this unnatural nature of what you're seeing, and it never feels fantastical or feels out there or something that's unrealistic. It feels like something that could happen, probably won't, but it has that kind of realistic nature to it, and it's bloody terrifying. When we get to the end of this movie, there is an idea that things have, or the power dynamics within the world have changed dramatically, and it's never going to be the same. The transfer for this is phenomenal, and there are some really fun and interesting images of ants in this one. If you like kind of nature programs and that, it's got bits of that in it as well. It's just one of those phenomenally interesting movies that's often disregarded or kind of lumped into genre films. The kind of poster with the hands and the ants attacking lead it to believe that it's going to be something very different to this kind of cerebral movie that we actually get, which I really love. Phase 4 is one of those movies that you need to give a chance to. You need to watch it. You need to give it some time and go back and watch it again. And I promise it's one of those movies that you'll probably appreciate the more you watch it, the more interesting it becomes. Yeah, I love Phase 4. I don't know what else to say about it other than I think you should check it out. This is a phenomenal package, a phenomenal disc and transfer. It looks amazing, and this is one that I didn't think I needed in this fancy packaging because I've got a really good Blu-ray of it, but now I've got it, now I've revisited it, I absolutely did need it. I'm so glad to have it. I would love to know your thoughts on Phase 4. Let me know in the comment box below your thoughts on this one. Have you seen it once and it just wasn't for you? Have you went back to it? Is it something that kind of haunts your nightmares like it does for me? Maybe say more about me than it does about anybody else. But hey, drop a comment. We'll have a conversation about this movie. As always, there is more content up here. You can see more of my stuff. In the description box below are links to Patreon, membership program, and manvfilm.com. Always in which you can support me. Thanks for watching and see you next time.